Good day. Thank you for joining us for today's news. If you find this helpful, please consider subscribing. We're here every day with calm, clear updates just for you.
President Donald Trump has once again made unfounded claims that former President Barack Obama and other officials committed treason, rehashing old grievances about the Russia investigation. His comments came after a new intelligence report from Director of National Intelligence about Russian interference in the 2016 election. However, the report has been widely criticized as politically motivated and lacking evidence. Mitigations, including those by the Mueller team and congressional committees, have confirmed that Russia did interfere in the election through various means such as hacking and social media campaigns, outrageous and ridiculous. Meanwhile, Trump has shifted focus away from pressing national security issues to revisit old political disputes, even as investigations into former officials continue. His recent comments were made in response to former associate of Gus Conte. Trump has dismissed the investigations continue to affirm the justice turret. The ongoing debate over the Russia probe remains highly contentious, with both sides accusing the other of politicizing the intelligence community.
The New Zealand government has announced a $1.2 billion funding package to support the restructuring of Te Pūkenga, the country's largest tertiary education provider. The move, outlined in the 2025 budget, aims to address long-standing concerns related to institutions' failure. The funding will be used to modernize infrastructure, expand course offerings, and improve student support services. Education Minister Penny Simmonds at Te Pūkenga continue to provide high-quality education to New Zealanders. The announcement has been welcomed by student groups and education sector.
In a shocking new report, nearly half of Asian parents in New Zealand say their children have been bullied at school. In the past year, the findings reveal a deepening mental health crisis, with over half of Asian adults showing signs of depression. Younger generations, especially those aged 18 to 29, are most affected. The report also highlights a significant drop in life satisfaction among Asian New Zealanders, particularly in urban areas. Discrimination and a lack of support are key factors, according to the report. Says Eisen Fally Fang calls the situation a silent crisis and urges the government to impose. With over a fifth of respondents reporting racial bias, the need for action has never been more urgent.
Young New Zealanders are investing in fragrances as a form of self-expression, with some individuals spending thousands of dollars on high-end perfumes and niche brands. This trend is being driven by social media platforms such as TikTok, where influencers and celebrities promotions.
The International Court of Justice is about to deliver a historic verdict that could reshape the future of climate justice. This case, led by Vanuatu and supported by Pacific nations, began in a university classroom in 2019 when students demanded that the world's governments and international prefer climate change. At stake is whether governments have a legal duty to protect people from climate-related harm and what consequences arise if they fail in that duty. If the court rules in favor of the Pacific nations, it could set a powerful precedent, empowering small island states and opening the door to new climate litigation. This is not just a legal battle, it's a fight for justice for the most vulnerable communities facing the worst impacts of climate change. The world is watching as the 15 judges of the ICJ prepare to deliver their verdict, which could mark the beginning of a new era in the global climate justice movement.
New Zealand's education system has long been celebrated as world-class, but a recent internal document from the Education Ministry paints a different picture. The report, seen by RNZ and dated 2023, reveals that the system is ranked as fair by global standards. The document, referencing a 2010 McKinsey assessment, shows New Zealand at the top of the fair category, alongside countries like Armenia and Greece, and behind Australia, which was considered low in the good KT PISA. Tests show it ranked 10th in reading, 11th in science, and 23rd in maths. The report attributes the decline in performance to the 2007 curriculum reform, which was implemented without sufficient support. The ministry's document, with over 70% of teachers and principals reporting that curriculum changes are happening too fast, the path forward remains uncertain. The challenge lies in ensuring that the reforms are both effective and equitable without undermining the creativity.
The rising cost of butter in New Zealand is causing concern for both families and the baking industry. Prices have increased by 120% over the past decade, for the 46.5% jump in the year to June. Finance Minister Nicola Willis has met with Fonterra CEO Miles Hurrell to discuss the issue. Bakers and educators like Heather Kalish and Bernie Suguri highlight the challenges of finding suitable substitutes for butter in recipes, as well as the broader impact of rising ingredient costs on the industry and households.
In a bold move, the Prime Minister of the Cook Islands, Mark Brown, has defended the nation's new strategic partnership with China, arguing that the Cook Islands must seek help from other countries if New Zealand cannot fully support its $650 million in core sector funding, citing concerns over the partnership. Brown emphasized that the Cook Islands must forge its own path, stating that if New Zealand cannot provide the necessary assistance, the nation will look elsewhere for help. This move highlights a growing diplomatic rift between the two nations as the Cook Islands settle. The Prime Minister also pointed out that New Zealand itself has a similar agreement with China, which has resulted in billions of dollars in trade. As the Cook Islands continues to expand its international partnerships, the nation is signaling a shift in its foreign policy, balancing its history. The 2025 Pascals Annual Governance Forum, held in Rarotonga, brought together leaders from across the Cook Islands to discuss the future of the nation, emphasizing unity and collaboration as key themes.
A 60-year-old Warkworth teen named Silas Sims lost his life in a tragic car crash on Lay Ard. His family and friends are mourning the loss of a young man described as kind, adventurous, and full of life. Silas was a Stangwise rugby player and fisherman, known for his infectious rile and willies. His death has left a deep impact on his community, with many expressing sorrow over the loss of a promising young man. Tributes have poured in from friends, teachers, and local clubs, with one describing him as a memorable young man who treated others with kindness. His family has asked for donations to the Matakana Volunteer Fire Brigade instead of flowers, and a service will be held in his memory. While the community grieves, they are also remembering Silas for the joy he brought to so many, hoping his legacy will inspire others to live with courage and compassion.
In a tragic incident that unfolded on a West Auckland driveway last year, Elizabeth Smith has pleaded guilty to the manslaughter of Dean Fifield. The case began with a property dispute, escalating to a Fifield being struck and killed by Smith. Tale that Fifield was dragged under the vehicle. Smith, who had initially been charged with murder, now faces a manslaughter charge after her guilty plea. The case highlights the devastating consequences of unrest. The sentencing is expected to take place next month, marking the final chapter in a tragic and sobering story.
That's all for today's news. We appreciate your time. If you enjoyed this update, please consider subscribing. Your support helps us keep going.